definitely.
So I'm curious to know, like, what started the process of you putting your story into a book in the first place?
Okay, first off, thank you for your support, and I appreciate you reading the book.
No
Um,
problem.
but secondly, yeah, I've had so many people ever since I had this accident and me starting to speak because I'm also a motivational speaker. So ever
Hmm.
since I've been doing speaking gigs and even talking to people one on one, they're like, "Man, you need to write a book." And I'm like, "Yeah, I should." And I would always say that, for the longest time. And I had my motorcycle accident back in 2017. So it's been over 4 years now. And everybody say, "Yeah, man, you need to write a book. Yeah, man, you need to write a book." Yeah, I think I should. Yeah, I think I should. And finally, like today, when I was coming home, somebody had asked me about the book, and I was like, "Hey, well, how long have you been writing?" And I said, "Well, physically, I started back in September of 2020, and I finished around, I don't know, maybe March of 2021. But all together, I've probably been writing this book since I had the accident 4 years ago. Been putting my story together every piece by piece since this accident occurred. So it was what made me want to write it was not only was it to tell the world about what happened and give people a little insight of how I dealt with it and how I overcame, but also to release. Like it was like a releasing mechanism versus some people like to have their private journals. I made this a public journal and my jot. I jotted down some information, just little stuff. I mean, granted, it seems major to a lot of people, and even my family says it made them relive that day all over again. And but it was one of those things that I was definitely glad that I did because it helped me. So yeah, it was a great thing to do for me.
That's awesome. As I was reading, I made some notes because when I read, I like to read actively, whether it's
Yeah,
someone's autobiography or whatever it is. I like to actively read.
yeah. Okay.
And some of the things that stood out to me was one, your humor. Like there were some parts in there. I was like, oh, he threw humor in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Also the fact that the way that you structured the book, each chapter is like an open letter to the readers, and you invite them in to kind of not only join the journey, but you provide life lessons at the end of each chapter. Tell me about your purpose for structuring the book like that.
If I have to be 100% honest with you, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe you would be the first person I've told this to, as
Mm-hmm.
far as like interview wise,
Mm-hmm.
the first chapter, Deuce Five,
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be that way. Not
Mm.
all of them.
Wow.
So the way that turned out was the editor who I had editing my book, he
Mm-hmm.
kept doing it. And I was like, "Dude, are you not paying attention to something like that was not supposed to be for the first chapter? What are you doing?" And so he was like, "No, dude, I think it'll turn out great like this because of the way you wrote the book." And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "All right, I'll go with it."
Yeah.
I gave him a look and everything. I raised my eyebrow. I was like, "I'll go with it." But anyway, and you would not believe how much positive feedback I have gotten about the letter format. People
Yeah.
people on Amazon, writing their reviews saying, "Oh, I just love the way he writes letters and for every chapter. It's almost like you're having a cup of coffee with him, and he's talking to you about his, excursion and his experience with this whole motorcycle accident." And
Yeah.
I've gotten so much great feedback about that, and I couldn't be more proud that I stuck with that format because
Mm-hmm.
at first I was kind of like, "Yeah, I don't know if I would like this. I've never
Mm-hmm.
seen a book like that, and
Yeah.
so why not be different? Why not be unique?" And I heard one of my friends that I've met on Clubhouse. Shout out to Jasmine Duffy. She said, people look at people with disabilities as disabled, but they
Mm-hmm.
should, but they should look at us as differently abled. And I was like, oh, I gotta use that. You know, and to me it means so much more because I don't see myself as disabled because I feel like I do so much. You know, even my best friend, God rest his soul, just passed away. He even used to call me Superman because I was always doing something. I was either writing a book, uh, you know, answering the door when he came over, and he thinking somebody else is at the house, and I'm like, no, it's just me here. And he's like, what? You're doing all this stuff by yourself? You know, stuff like that. I'm 100% visually impaired, blind. Okay, I am blind. And I love to tell it people like that. You know, I just make it plain. I am blind. Okay, and so you know things like that really stuck out for me. People who would definitely, you know, just make notice of things such as you like saying how you like that letter format. I know you guys who can see probably see me wiping my eye. For
Mm-hmm.
those who are listening, I was just wiping my eye because during the accident, my bottom, if you read the book, the bottom portion of my eyelid on my right eye was torn off during the accident, and that caused so many different problems on that right eye.
Mm.
And a runny eye is one of them. I've had
Mm.
3 surgeries on that eye, and still no complete fix. It just slowed it down, to be honest.
Wow.
But yeah, that's just a little bit about it. But yeah, yeah. I hope you like that letter format, though.
Yeah, I really did. Like, first of all, you know, like as a writer, you know, get into like nerd mode. As a writer, as a writer, I was like, oh, this is different one,
Yeah,
but it's a good different. It's like you've already begun the process of setting the tone for your writing style. So if you decide or when you decide to write future books,
right.
when people pick it up, they're gonna know, oh, this is Kijuan. Like, no
Yeah,
mistake
yeah,
about it.